Welcome to another North Point Counseling Perspective, a podcast that addresses the intricate tapestry of relational and mental health issues. I'm your host, counselor and author, John Sternfels. Whether you're navigating the challenges of marriage, parenting, sex or porn addiction, partner betrayal trauma, or any mental health concern, we've got you covered. Join us each week as we provide insights from counseling professionals who help unravel the complexities of the heart and mind. So grab your headphones, settle in, and let's explore another North Point Counseling Perspective. In this week's podcast, Understanding Fear, I will unpack this very complex and powerful emotion to better understand why it tends to have such power over us. Deeper insights into the emotion of fear involve acknowledging its universality while recognizing the deeply personal and subjective aspects that color individual experiences. Moreover, fear extends its reach into the realm of cognition, influencing our thoughts and perceptions. Irrational fears, known as phobias, can dominate the mind, distorting reality and triggering anxiety in response to perceived threats that may not pose actual danger. Understanding the cognitive dimensions of fear involves examining how beliefs, memories, and cognitive biases contribute to amplify or attenuating this emotion. By understanding fear, we gain a profound insight into the human condition and a nuanced perspective on the myriad ways individuals navigate and cope with this powerful emotion. Fear is a complex emotion that has played a pivotal role in human survival even since creation. So let's dive into the multifaceted nature of fear, exploring four important areas. First is its origins. Second is the underlying mechanisms. Third is the diverse ways it manifests in human behavior, examining the impact of fear on individuals and society, considering both the adaptive and maladaptive aspects. Fourth is synthesizing insights from psychology, neuroscience, and sociology, shedding light on the significance in our lives. The background of fear is deeply rooted in the history of organisms, including humans. Fear is an adaptive emotion that has evolved as a crucial mechanism for ensuring survival and enhancing the chances of reproductive success. Throughout creation, organisms that developed effective fear responses were more likely to avoid threats and dangers, ultimately preserving their genes. Fear is considered a survival mechanism. The ability to detect and respond to potential environmental threats allowed early organisms to avoid predators, escape danger, and increase their chances of passing on their genetic material to the next generation. The physiological and behavioral responses associated with fear, such as the fight or flight response, has been evolutionarily conserved across species. This rapid and automatic reaction prepares the organism to confront or flee from the perceived threat. The amygdala, a key structure in the brain, plays a central role in fear processing. It is involved in the rapid assessment of stimuli for their emotional significance, particularly in relation to perceived threats. Fear triggers that release the stress hormones, such as cortisol and adrenaline, which prepare the body for quick and decisive action. These hormones contribute to the physiological changes associated with the fight or flight response. Fear can be learned through classical conditioning, a process in which a neutral stimulus becomes associated with an adverse event. Over time, the previously neutral stimulus can elicit fear responses on its own. Fear can also be shaped through operant conditioning, where behaviors that lead to safety or danger are reinforced or punished, influencing the likelihood of repeated behavior. Early life experiences, particularly during critical periods of development, can shape an individual's fear responses. Attachment to caregivers, exposure to traumatic events, and the modeling of fear behaviors by significant others contribute to the development of fear responses. During adolescence, individuals may experience the emergence of specific fears related to social evaluation, peer relationships, and the formation of identity. Social influences and the desire for social acceptance become significant factors in fear development. Fear expression and the types of stimuli that elicit fear can also vary across cultures. Cultural norms, values, and rituals shape how fear is understood, expressed, and managed within a society. Modern media, including television, movies, and social media, can influence peer perception by shaping narratives that evoke emotional responses. Fear appeals are often used in advertising and entertainment to capture attention and engage audiences. So why am I sharing all this with you, you may be thinking? Well, maladaptive fear may result in psychopathology, which explores problems related to mental health, such as developing a fear disorder. Fear can lead to developing an anxiety disorder. Fear is a central component of various anxiety disorders, including generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, and specific phobias. These conditions involve excessive and maladaptive fear responses to perceived threats. Fear can also lead to developing post-traumatic stress disorder. Traumatic experiences can lead to the development of PTSD characterized by persistent and intrusive fear-related symptoms, such as flashbacks and nightmares. Regarding psychosomatic effects, chronic fear and stress have been associated with psychosomatic effects on physical health, including cardiovascular problems, weakened immune function, and other stress-related disorders. Prolonged exposure to fear-inducing stimuli or chronic fear can have long-term consequences on mental health, contributing to the development or exacerbation of mental health disorders. Here are some of the signs of psychopathology. Changes in eating habits, changes in mood, excessive worry, anxiety, or fear, feelings of distress, inability to concentrate, irritability or anger, low energy or feelings of fatigue, sleep disruptions, thoughts of self-harm or suicide, trouble coping with daily life, and withdraw from activities and friends. It is important to know that signs of psychopathology vary depending on the nature of the condition, of course. In summary, the background of fear is intrinsically connected to evolutionary processes, neurobiological mechanisms, learning experiences, cultural influences, and its impact on mental and physical health. Understanding the background of fear provides insights into its adaptive nature and diverse ways it may manifest itself in human behavior and cognition. Next, I will talk about the neuroscience of fear. Fear and neuroscience are also intrinsically connected, and understanding the neural basis of fear provides valuable insights into how this fundamental emotion is processed, experienced, and regulated in the human brain. The neuroscientific exploration of fear involves the study of specific brain regions, neural circuits, neurotransmitters, and genetic factors that contribute to the complex phenomenon of fear. I will dive into some key aspects of fear from a neuroscience perspective. I know this is a little deep, but hang in there with me. First, I will discuss the neural structures involved in fear. As I mentioned previously, the amygdala is a crucial brain structure in the processing of fear. The amygdala is a crucial brain structure in the processing of fear. It consists of several nuclei, with the amygdala's central nucleus playing a central role in orchestrating fear responses. The amygdala receives sensory input and rapidly evaluates the emotional significance of stimuli, particularly those associated with potential threats. Next is the hippocampus. The hippocampus is involved in contextualizing fear responses and forming memories of fear-inducing events. It interacts with the amygdala to create a nuanced understanding of the environmental context associated with fear. Next is the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex, especially the ventral medial prefrontal cortex, is involved in fear regulation and extinction. It modulates amygdala activity and contributes to the cognitive aspects of fear, such as fear appraisal and regulation. So here is the fear circuitry: amygdala, hippocampus connectivity. The interaction between the amygdala and the hippocampus is crucial for fear processing. The amygdala rapidly evaluates stimuli for potential threat, while the hippocampus helps contextualize these stimuli within a broader environmental framework. And so let's put the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex connectivity. The prefrontal cortex exerts top-down control over the amygdala, helping regulate fear responses. Impairments in this connectivity are associated with conditions like anxiety disorders, where fear regulation is compromised. Well, if I haven't lost you yet, I'd like to share a little bit about neurotransmitters in fear. Well, let's start with two neurotransmitters, glutamate and GABA. Glutamate is an excitatory neurotransmitter that plays a key role in fear learning and memory. GABA, an inhibitory neurotransmitter, helps regulate fear responses by modulating neural excitability in fear-related circuits. Okay, so let's break this down. These two neurotransmitters have opposing effects on neuronal excitability and play crucial roles in maintaining the balance of excitation and inhibition within neural circuits. Next are serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. Monoamines like serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine influence fear processing. Imbalances in these neurotransmitter systems are implicated in anxiety and mood disorders, where fear dysregulation is a central feature. Next are genetics and fear responses, or in simple terms, genetic predisposition. Genetic factors can influence individual differences in fear responses. In fact, twin studies have suggested a heritable component in fear-related traits, indicating that genetic variations contribute to the propensity for fear and anxiety. Candidate genes, as they are called, are specific genes, such as those related to the serotonin transporter and receptors, that have been associated with fear-related behaviors. Variations in these genes can influence vulnerability to fear-related disorders. Next is called fear, extinction, and memory, also known as extinction learning. Fear extinction is a form of learning where a previously fear-inducing stimulus is presented without the adverse consequence, reducing fear responses. This process involves the amygdala, prefrontal cortex, and other brain regions. Previous fear-inducing stimulus is presented without the adverse consequence, reducing fear responses. This process involves the amygdala, prefrontal cortex, and other brain regions. Regarding memory consolidation, fear memories are consolidated through processes involving synaptic plasticity. Understanding the neural mechanisms of memory consolidation provides insights into how fear-related memories are formed and maintained. Chronic exposure to fear or stress can induce structural changes in the brain, particularly the regions like the amygdala and hippocampus. Neuroplasticity, including alterations in the dendritic branching and synaptic connectivity, is associated with long-term changes in fear responses. Next is sociology and fear. Sociology provides valuable insights into the complex relationship between fear and society. Fear is a multifaceted emotion that is shaped and influenced by social, cultural, and structural factors. Sociological perspectives examine how fear is socially constructed, the ways in which it is maintained or mitigated, and its impact on individual and collective behavior. I will share some key sociological considerations regarding fear. First is the social construction of fear. Regarding cultural variations, fear is not universal or static. Its nature and intensity varies across cultures and societies. What is feared in one society may not be feared in another, highlighting the socially constructed nature of fear. Next is media and social institutions. Media, institutions, and societal norms contribute to constructing fear. News media, for example, shape public perceptions of threat and risks, influencing the collective sense of fear. Next is the social institutions and fear. Fear can be politically instrumentalized. Leaders use fear appeals to garner support or legitimize policies. The politics of fear can shape public opinion and influence decision-making. Economic factors like unemployment and economic inequality can contribute to social anxieties and fears. Fear of economic instability may influence social behaviors and political attitudes. Next is social inequality and fear. Societal inequalities and injustices contribute to the experience of fear, particularly for marginalized or vulnerable groups. Structural violence, including discrimination and systemic injustices, can foster a pervasive sense of fear. Societies may develop a fear of the other, whether defined by race, ethnicity, religion, or other characteristics. This kind of fear can manifest in prejudice, discrimination, and social divisions. Next is urban sociology and fear. Urban environments are often associated with heightened fear of crime. The perception of crime risks in urban areas can shape behaviors, influencing factors such as residential choices and community dynamics. The prevalence of surveillance technologies can contribute to feelings of fear and the sense of being constantly observed. This panoptic environment may impact individuals' sense of autonomy and privacy. Next is social movements and fear. Fear can be a powerful force in social movements. Movements may emerge in response to perceived threats or injustices, and fear can motivate collective action for social change. Fear can foster solidarity within communities facing common threats. Collective fear may lead to the formation of social bonds and the mobilization of communities. Next is health and societal fear. Events such as pandemics can instill widespread fear. Societal responses to health crisis, including implementing public health measures, are influenced by collective fears and perceptions of risk. Societal norms around health and beauty can contribute to the medicalization of fear, where individuals fear deviating from perceived norms and standards. Next is social responses to fear. Sociologist Ulrich Beck introduced the risk society concept, where a heightened awareness of risks and uncertainties characterizes modern societies. This perspective explores how societies manage and respond to fears related to technological, environmental, and social risks. Societies develop mechanisms of social reliance to cope with and respond to fear. This includes the role of social networks, community support, and collective action in mitigating the impact of fear. Understanding fear from a sociological perspective enriches our comprehension of how it is embedded in the fabric of societies, influencing individual and collective behaviors, shaping social norms, and interacting with various social institutions and structures. Well, there you have it. Understanding fear helps empower individuals by providing insights into their emotions and behaviors. This self-awareness can lead to personal growth, resilience, and the development of coping strategies in the face of challenges. As odd as this may be, becoming friends with fear is a transformative process that involves changing one's relationship with fear from avoidance or anxiety to acceptance, understanding, and even collaboration. I know this has been a lot, but I want to thank you for listening to a North Point Counseling Perspective. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please click like and don't forget to share your thoughts with me. Until next time, becoming friends with fear is an ongoing process that involves self-reflection, self-compassion, and a willingness to embrace discomfort. By changing your perspective and developing coping strategies, you can transform fear from an adversary into a source of strength and personal insight.